This is Danny Flexon for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined once again by Michael McKinson. Mikey, the problem, of course. Fresh off latest victory, still unbeaten. After beating Krzysztof Runowski. Is it Krzysztof Runowski? Przemyslav Runowski. We don't care what his first name is at this moment. It's Runowski, we know that. Just reflect on that fight for us to start with. Did you expect it to be as comfortable as it looked on screen?
In all honesty, I didn't. I was expecting to be in a tougher fight than the Chris Kongo fight, given his form and how confident the team was. Like his only defeat was against Josh Kelly at short notice, and he's beat some real good fighters as well. So I was in with a serious opponent, and I was expecting a harder fight than the Chris Kongo fight. But after the first round, and he realised that he couldn't jump in and get caught because I can dig a bit. He went into a shell for 10 rounds. So, it didn't so much make me look amazing. Don't get me wrong, it was a shutout performance. There's not a round I'll give him. It was a shutout performance, but I wanted to really stand out. And I don't think he gave me that performance because he didn't want to commit. It weren't my fault, it was his. He didn't want to commit, and it was kind of... It reminded me at points of back when I was fighting journeyman, at the beginning of my career. And it's frustrating, but it just goes to show that as I'm stepping up levels, I'm getting better and I'm making it look easier. People has rarely seen me have to go through the gears and show different parts of my ability, because at the minute every fight really has been quite easy.
Do you find that frustrating at all, that reluctance to engage from your opponents? Because while it's an easy night at the office for you, as you said, you're not going to get to stand out as much as people who come to win.
Yeah, I think the Kongo performance was a good performance, but because he really wanted to beat me and keep his belt. But it was kind of similar because after round one, his game plan completely changed. Tactics completely changed. So it is frustrating. But all I've got to do is keep doing what I'm doing, because I keep winning. I keep shutting people up, and I'm making it look quite easy. So I think as we step up levels of opposition, you'll see a different side of me, a different side of Mikey. I will start knocking them out soon. I will, because they say I'm a non-puncher, but I can dig. I know I can dig, so I'll hit them hard enough to put them in their shell for 10 rounds anyway.
Yeah, I mean, on that subject, you've dropped a lot of really good opponents, but your stoppages don't reflect the power you carry. Is it a case of when you drop them, you want to go after them and you're told in the corner, look, just relax, you're winning this easy? Or is it that you think that maybe it's, why take a risk if you don't need to?
Yeah, I don't need to take risks, because it gets to rounds 5 and 6, I've already won the fight. I'm already smiling, and I've already won the fight. And that is the case with them all. From the middle rounds, I've already won the fight. So maybe when there's a time where I've got to start taking risks and I have got to dig deep, that's when you'll see the knockouts. But at the moment, I haven't needed to, and I'm winning shutout fights after shutout fights against good opposition. So, I'm happy. I'm happy to keep doing what I'm doing until I have to. At the end of the day, the only person I listen to, because there was people in the crowd and trying to egg me on to step, because I hurt him a few times. I hurt him a few times, and it was the question, Mike, you should step on him now and try and get him out of there. But the only person I listen to is my dad in the corner, and he was saying, this is a shutout win. You're winning every round comfortably. Carry on doing what you're doing. Don't need to take risks. So I listen to my dad.
You hear that a lot from commentators on TV as well, not just in your fights, but in lots of fights. Oh, yeah, I'd like to see him, be a bit more aggressive and try and get him out of there. But they've obviously got a different agenda. They're trying to create the most exciting spectacle for whoever's watching, whereas you're trying to get the win with the least punishment taken. It's two different priorities.
If you see me when I got out of the ring, I didn't have a mark on my face. Like I bumped into Amir Khan the following day in London, and he was like, "You do not look like you've done 10 rounds." You know what I mean? I come out kind of fresh faced, and like it's a bit annoying because everyone, like even me, I want to come out with a few bruises, looking like I've been into a fight, but I don't get it.
And that was the end to any possibility of a Khan fight happening, I'm guessing.
Wow, I think he's only got one fight on his mind, and then he'll probably call it a day, hasn't he? So yeah, I had a chat with him and that, and I said I'm coming after you, but no, I think he's just got that one fight on his mind, and he don't need to fight, really, does he?
No. So you're very high now in the world rankings. I mean, you were quite high even before, but you're getting ever higher and closer to a world title shot. What sort of matches would you like to have between now and that world title shot? Because you want to get as close to that level as possible before you do it, I suppose.
I'd like big names, like maybe like former world champions and that kind of people. I see Robert Guerrero beat Victor Ortiz on the weekend. That was a fight I'd love. Robert Guerrero, like somebody like that. Or I was having a bit of like Twitter beef this year with Devon Alexander, but he lost the other week. He lost the other week. But like them type opponents, great names, great tests for me because it's a big jump from the level I've been fighting at to the elite level. So they're perfect fights, really. But all I can do is, because I'm managed by MTK and I'm promoted by Matchroom, so I've got no issues. Do you know what I mean? I know I've got a great team behind me to guide me, so I do as I'm told. Like, I'll do as I'm told, and the answer is always yes. So whoever they've got in mind for me next, as long as I see it as another step up, I'm happy.
And there was some stuff online about potentially a fight between you and David Avanesyan, who's the European champion. Obviously, we've seen him over here. He's based over here for his training camps. Yeah. From your knowledge, how close was that to ever coming together?
I never heard of it.
Okay.
I see an interview got put out. Was it Neil Marsh or something?
Yeah.
And apparently me and Conor Benn turned the fight down.
Yeah.
So first thing I did was message my manager Lee and like MTK, and he said he's not heard of it either. So I don't know who it was, or even if it was the case of we've turned a fight down. I would never have turned a fight down, especially a fight as good as that one, because I'm in this sport to make Portsmouth proud, make my daughter proud, and put Portsmouth on the map. And what better way to have a fight against Avanesyan? Do you know what I mean? And like I believe that I'll cause him problems all night. So, but yeah, I'm happy Liam Taylor's got the fight against him, because he doesn't really get a lot of credit, Liam Taylor. Good fighter, but yeah, like if he stays around at European level or whatever, 100%. The answer is always yes.
It just seems like that would be the sort of fight to bring out the best in you. He's someone who will keep coming and give you the opportunity to open up a bit.
Yeah, and it's also a fight that I've noticed the public wants to see as well. Like, if there's any domestic names that it doesn't really benefit me unless it's the Khans, the Brooks, the Kellys, or the Bens. Like,
yeah,
other than that, none of them is beneficial towards me. So, but Avanesyan, great, and not like I belong at least European level. Like I've been the level I've been fighting at. It's kind of, I've not even been breaking a sweat. So push me on. You know what I mean? Push me on. I'm ready.
And you mentioned Guerrero against Ortiz. That was obviously on the undercard of Ugas and Pacquiao. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. But before I do, when you watch these fights, I'm sure you've watched Pacquiao throughout a lot of his career as a fan, great fighter to watch. But now you're so close to the top of the welterweight division. Do you watch it slightly differently because these are people you could be meeting at some point in the not too distant future?
Not really. I've obviously always been a fan of Pacquiao, like being a southpaw as well and stuff like that. And I never really knew much of Ugas, like, really. I've seen him fight maybe 2 or 3 times. But fair play to him. It wasn't the same Pacquiao. wasn't the same Pacquiao, and like Father Time's like took its toll, hasn't it? Like he's been about a long time, and but you got to give credit to Ugas. Like great jab on him, great jab, and he done what he had to do. But it hasn't ruined Pacquiao's legacy, has it? Let's face it. Like Pacquiao leaves the sport as a great. So yeah, I'll always. Especially, I've only really looked at the people in the WBO rankings because that's where. But now we're still there. Yeah.
Yeah. You just froze for a second. But you were saying you only really look at the people in the WBO rankings.
Yeah, and it goes like from last month's rankings. Obviously, Crawford's the champion. Then it goes Virgil Ortiz, Sean Porter, Mikey Garcia, and that lad from Portsmouth, Michael McKinson. You know what I mean? Like, and why not? Why not? If I got a phone call to fight any one of them, 1,000,000%. That's why I'm in this sport. You know what I mean? That's why I'm in this sport. And I've been a pro 7 years, and I've finally just broke through this year. So over the next few years, it's kind of vital for my career and where I can go. Because I am still learning. I'm getting better each fight. So yeah, like the fight the other day, I had niggles and injuries going into the fight, and it didn't show. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like the most straightforward training camp, because there's a few like niggles and stuff, and I still made it look easy. So like until I'm in a fight where like I ain't having it my own way, I'll still talk and I'll still be confident, because at the moment, like I'm allowed to be. You know what I mean? No one's like really phased me in any fight. Like I've been doing it quite easy.
Ugas was a bit of an amateur star, but as a pro, he's often been on the B side of the bills. He's kind of had some good results, but under the radar. This was his big coming out night, if you like. Do you kind of empathise with that a little bit, because you've done similar? You know, you've fought really well, you're unbeaten, but it's been largely under the radar.
Yeah, I always back the underdog. Like I like that the underdog story and stuff like that. And growing up, like I've obviously grown up in boxing. I've always favoured the underdogs in the big fights and stuff. There's always that case that I really want the underdog to win. Hence why I love being the underdog most of the time. So yeah, it is good for you guys. Now he's finally here. No, he's finally there, and short notice as well. You know what I mean? So yeah, fair play to him. He's obviously got a lot more followers from this weekend, and there's so many great fights out there for him now.
And you mentioned Crawford earlier. Obviously, you're high up in the rankings for his title. The purse bids are expected next week for him against Sean Porter. What do you make of that fight?
I think Sean Porter's a handful for anyone. He is a handful for anyone. But Terence Crawford's a level above. I think, yeah, Terence Crawford is a level above most of them in the top 10. Probably all of them, including Spencer, in my eyes. But yeah, I think it will be a good fight. I don't think Crawford has stopped Porter. I think it will be close on points. But when it comes to levels, I just see Crawford being better than Porter.
And just coming back to you before I let you go, when can we expect to see you next out again?
So I boxed Runowski, what was it, 8-9 days ago?
Yeah.
Got back to the hotel. The first thing I did was message Lee and like get me out before Christmas. Like I'd love a December date. I want to go on maybe like a little holiday or something in a few weeks with my girlfriend, and it's been a couple of years since I've had a holiday. But then I'd love to go straight back into camp. I'd like, if I had it my way, I'd be out before Christmas. So December suits me perfect. But yeah, I was already on the case hours after the fight. Hours after the fight.
You told me before how you're always texting Lee Eaton, poor Lee Eaton.
I was there. I messaged him last night, like, Robert Guerrero, like, let's try. I'm a pest. And the reason I am a pest is because I'm so ambitious, and there's loads I want to do in boxing. There's loads I'm going to do in boxing, but I got to push it, you know what I mean? And like, just because I've just broke on the scene, I'm not a prospect anymore. I'm 27 years old. I've had 21 pro fights. So push me on. Like, push me on. I'm ready.
Great stuff. Well, we look forward to seeing that journey progress.
Yes,
really
man.
appreciate it, mate, as always. And hopefully we'll catch up again before that December date if it comes off.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Nice one, Dan.
Cheers, mate. You take care. Speak
See you
soon.
later. Bye.